Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here today. I had this incredible opportunity to go in and meet each and every one of you. So I'm super excited to welcome you all to this conference. You're professionals, innovators, advocates from here, and also visiting from Pakistan. So very welcome. So this conference is entitled Ignite, about where sparks of inspiration meet the flames of change and empowerment. I'm Amal Zahid, your guide through this blazing journey of empowerment in every aspect. And we've put together an incredible lineup of speakers, inspirational people, workshops, panels on almost every topic that you can think of that touches women. So I hope that you can make the most out of your time here today. And first of all, I would want to acknowledge and appreciate that all of you are here and woke up this morning and showed up at this hour with a lot of motivation. That right there deserves a whole round of applause. So let's put our hands together for that. This is for you. A little bit more about me. I am otherwise a consultant at the World Bank's Women, Business, and the Law team, and tracking women's empowerment is exactly what I do for a living. And if you look at where women are globally and how they're faring, more conferences like these make a lot of sense. So where are we globally? I want you to pay attention because I'm going to quiz you later. So next slide, please. Diving right in so that you can keep these data points in mind as we walk through the different panels that we've put together for you. So across the world, women hold just 1 out of every 5 board positions. Women earn just 77 cents for every dollar paid to men. In 28 economies, a woman cannot pass her nationality to children the same way as a man. In 50 economies, a woman does not enjoy an equal right to confer citizenship on her foreign spouse. So that's where we are. Can you imagine that these disparities continue to persist? So yes, a lot more work needs to happen, and it will start right here at the individual level, right here with all of us. So today, you are being given an incredible opportunity to meet new people, connect with new people, build a whole new or add new people into your existing awesome network. And so I challenge you, just because we're on this side of the stage doesn't mean that there are not more awesome or inspiring people on the other side of the stage. So I encourage you to find those people, connect with them, learn their stories. I invite you to choose courage today, to simply walk up to a stranger and introduce yourself. With that, it's time for our opening ceremony, Igniting the Flame. Picture this moment as the spark that ignites a wildfire of a collective change, where each one of us contributes to that flame of progress. We're not just here to talk about things, but we really are here to inspire a new vision for yourselves, or an existing one, and how to make that more achievable for you. So this program, so our co-chairs for this year are Iman and Areeba Yasin, Iman Heather and Areeba Yasin. These both young ladies are early career professionals who have single-handedly put together this conference with an amazing team of volunteers right here. So please join me in welcoming our conference co-chair, Areeba Yasin, providing the opening note, who will also introduce our mission and objectives. So a big round of applause. Areeba Yasin.
Good morning, everyone. How is everyone doing today? That was very weak, okay? You need to make up for everyone that's not in the room today. How's everyone doing right now? Thank you all so much for being here on time, bright and early. Today, we are embarking on a day filled with insights and stories brought to us by some of the most knowledgeable and experienced members of our community. Before we begin, I ask that we take a moment of reflection and acknowledge the grave atrocities occurring in Palestine today. As we gather here from a place of immense privilege, let us reflect upon how we can all use our privilege and our professional capabilities to support those in need. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you all. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Areeba Yasin, and it is with great privilege and honor that I welcome you as today's co-chair of this year's Women's Empowerment Conference, Ignite. This year, our theme revolves around igniting our collective responsibility as a society to champion women's empowerment and recognize the vital role that women play in our economy. For those that are new to Open, Open stands for the Organization of Pakistani Entrepreneurial Network. It is home to founders, professionals from every sector, members of the diaspora, and people of all ages. Since the tender age of 11, I have been part of this vibrant community. Open has profoundly changed my life by continuously providing me opportunities for learning, mentorship, and development. Open Silicon Valley, the largest chapter in our global network, stands as a beacon of community and empowerment. But to me, Open has always been more than just a professional network. It is a place of affinity, a place where I can look around and see faces and identities that reflect my own. As I stand here today, I carry with me multiple identities. I am a daughter. I am a sister. I am a Muslim. I am Pakistani, and I am a woman. And each of these identities profoundly shape my views, my actions, and my whole understanding of empowerment. About 2 years ago, I had just graduated from my undergraduate degree in Washington, D.C., and a life-altering event reshaped my understanding of empowerment. I was living close to my grandparents' house at the time, and my mom was coming to visit us from the Bay Area. She had just arrived at my front door when her phone rang. It was her brother on the line. "Get to the house right now, the house just burned down." My mom and I exchanged a look of complete disbelief. The whole house? Was anyone still inside? We rushed over immediately, and within an hour, we stood in front of what used to be her family home. It was gone. The home I had known and loved was no longer there. And as I looked down at my hands and my clothes, I could see the ash starting to set in. My grandfather, who had been in the house at the time, did not survive. The shock was overwhelming. But what was haunting me even more was the realization that my mom was supposed to be in the house at the time of the fire. And by some absolute miracle, she ended up coming to my apartment door instead. And she was spared. That moment changed my entire worldview. I had a job lined up in DC to pursue a career in politics and advocacy. But I realized in that moment that my identity as a daughter and as a sister needed to take precedence. And so I left everything in DC and I moved back to the Bay Area to be with my family. It suddenly became so clear to me That empowerment is also about making the tough choices that align with our deepest values and responsibilities. And that's the side of empowerment that we don't talk about enough. Yes, empowerment is about shattering glass ceilings and ensuring that you have a voice at the table. But true equity and inclusion also means listening to ourselves and the identities that compel us to act. At that moment, I knew that my identity and responsibility was to meet the needs of my family. And that too was a means of empowerment. As I moved home and started to settle back into life in the Bay, I also found my identity as a Muslim woman growing stronger. Faith was one of the only things that allowed me to make sense of the atrocities that had just occurred. And as that identity started to emerge at the forefront of who I am, I also decided that I wanted to wear a hijab. I still remember the first day that I went to work, bracing myself for the reaction from my colleagues. I entered the meeting room and there was silence. Everyone was just staring at me. I gently said, "I'm gonna start wearing hijab now." Half of my team smiled with words of encouragement, and another team member looked at me and said, "Why hair?" In the months that followed, communication and inclusion became performative and hollow. That feeling of being unwelcomed started to infiltrate so many parts of my professional life. And I started to notice myself being excluded from meetings and excluded from opportunities of growth. In a time where I struggled immensely to find the balance between my Muslim identity and my professional life, it was Open that provided me a community and a platform to continue my leadership and receive mentorship from individuals with similar identities as mine. Open taught me that I don't have to sacrifice any part of my identity to be a professional. I could be empowered and align with my deepest values just as I am. And today, I stand before you with my co-chair and my dear friend, Iman Heather, another Muslim hijabi woman. I share these little snippets of my life today because just as these are the stories that have shaped my journey of empowerment, each and every one of you have little snippets that have shaped your journey. And women's empowerment is not just about individual success, and it's not just a responsibility for women. It's a responsibility for all of us. Women's empowerment is about how those in positions of power advocate for us, and how systems and structures that shape our life are challenged to be more inclusive of our identities. This complexity of identity informs why our theme today is so crucial, igniting our collective responsibility for women's empowerment and social change. As women, we stand at the front of the economic revolution. But let's remember that empowerment is not a one-size-fits-all solution. It is a mosaic of our varied experiences and identities. And when we show up in our workplaces, in our community, and at society at large, we deserve to do so, not just as women, but as the full embodiment of our intersecting identities. I am so grateful for each and every one of you for being here with us today, bright and early. We have an incredibly packed agenda. Can we see the agenda, please? We're gonna have our first two amazing panel sessions coming up, and then we're gonna be followed by a networking break and startup pitches. And then we're gonna continue after that as well. I'm so excited to be here with all of you today. Let's make sure that we ignite a movement today that celebrates each and every part of who we are, empowering each other to build a more equitable and inclusive world. Thank you.